Ladies over 60, watch out. These 5 signs show he's not valuing you the way you deserve. With 6 full decades of lessons, love, and resilience shaping who you are, you've earned the right to be valued, respected, and cherished by anyone who has the privilege of being in your life. Yet, too many women our age are accepting behaviors that clearly signal a lack of genuine respect and appreciation, hoping that patience and understanding will somehow transform men who simply don't value them properly. Welcome back to Wise Advice for Elderly. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 specific behaviors that are clear indicators a man doesn't truly value you, regardless of what he says or how charming he can be when it suits him. These aren't minor flaws or personality quirks. They're patterns that show he sees you as optional rather than precious, convenient rather than valuable. Understanding these behaviors will help you recognize when you're wasting your time and energy on someone who doesn't appreciate what they have. And more importantly, it will help you protect your self-worth from people who would diminish it through their actions. But first, if you're ready to recognize the difference between a man who values you and one who merely enjoys your company when convenient, hit that subscribe button now. Here at Wise Advice for Elderly, we believe you deserve to be cherished, and we'll help you recognize when you're not receiving the respect you've earned. Behavior number 1. He makes you feel like you're asking for too much. The first behavior that reveals a lack of genuine value is making you feel like your reasonable needs and expectations are excessive demands that burden him or prove your high maintenance. Maya Angelou said, "Never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option." When a man consistently makes you feel like your basic relationship needs, communication, consideration, respect, quality time, are unreasonable requests, he's showing you that he doesn't value the relationship enough to meet normal partnership standards. This shows up in various ways. When you ask for regular communication, he accuses you of being needy or clingy. When you expect basic courtesy like punctuality or follow-through on plans, he makes you feel like you're being demanding. When you express hurt about his behavior, he acts like you're being overly sensitive or dramatic. Barbara, 65, shared her experience. Every time I asked for something completely normal, like knowing when I'd see him next, or wanting him to call when he said he would, he'd sigh and make comments about women being so complicated or high maintenance. I started feeling like I was asking for too much when all I wanted was basic consideration. The psychology behind this behavior is deflection and control. Instead of taking responsibility for meeting reasonable relationship standards, he makes you question whether your expectations are valid. This keeps you focused on moderating your needs rather than expecting him to step up to normal relationship responsibilities. A man who truly values you welcomes the opportunity to meet your needs because your happiness matters to him. He doesn't make you feel guilty for having normal expectations. He appreciates knowing how to make you feel valued and cared for. The practical manifestation includes sighing or acting burdened when you express needs, making you feel guilty for expecting basic courtesy and consideration, acting like normal relationship expectations are excessive demands, comparing you unfavorably to other women who don't ask for as much, and making you question whether your needs are reasonable or valid. The deeper truth, a man who values you sees meeting your needs as an opportunity to show his care, not as a burden to be avoided. When someone consistently makes you feel like you're asking for too much, they're telling you that you're not worth the effort to them. Behavior number 2. He only shows up when it's convenient for him. The second behavior that reveals lack of value is showing up only when it suits his schedule, his mood, or his needs, while being unavailable or uninterested when you need support or companionship. Eleanor Roosevelt observed, "Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? in small places, close to home. The small place where your value should be recognized is in his willingness to prioritize you, even when it's not entirely convenient for him. This pattern looks like being available for fun activities, but disappearing when you're going through difficulties, calling when he's lonely, but being too busy when you need to talk, showing up for activities he enjoys, but finding excuses to avoid things that matter to you, and being present when he wants something, but absent when you need something. Linda, 67, recognized this pattern. He was always available for dinner dates, weekend trips, and fun activities. But when I was dealing with my mother's illness, when I needed help with a household emergency, when I was stressed about family issues, suddenly he was too busy or had other commitments. I realized I was entertainment to him, not a priority. If you've experienced being someone's convenience rather than their priority, give this video a thumbs up. Your time and needs deserve consistent consideration. The psychology reveals someone who sees the relationship as existing for their benefit rather than as a mutual partnership. They participate when they get something from it, but withdraw when participation requires giving rather than receiving. A man who truly values you shows up consistently, not just for the fun parts of your life, but especially during challenging times when you need support. He prioritizes your needs even when it's not perfectly convenient because your well-being matters to him. This behavior includes being available only when he wants something from you, disappearing during your difficult times or challenges, making excuses to avoid activities or commitments that don't directly benefit him, showing up for fun but not for support, and treating the relationship like entertainment rather than partnership. Behavior number 3. He dismisses or minimizes your feelings. The third behavior that reveals a man's lack of genuine respect is consistently dismissing, minimizing, or invalidating your emotions, treating your feelings as unimportant overreactions or inconveniences he shouldn't have to deal with. Carl Jung wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When someone consistently dismisses your feelings, they're revealing their inability or unwillingness to empathize with your emotional experience, and showing you that they view your emotions as problems to be eliminated rather than important information to be understood. This dismissal shows up as telling you you're overreacting when you express hurt or concern, changing the subject when you try to discuss your feelings, making jokes or being sarcastic when you're trying to be serious, acting bored or impatient when you express emotions, and generally treating your inner world as unimportant or invalid. Margaret, 68, described this painful dynamic. "Whenever I tried to tell him something hurt my feelings, or when I was upset about something, he'd roll his eyes and say things like, 'Here we go again,' or 'You're being too sensitive.' He made me feel like my emotions were a character flaw rather than a normal part of being human. I started keeping my feelings to myself because sharing them only led to being made to feel foolish." The psychology behind this behavior is emotional avoidance and lack of empathy. Some people are uncomfortable with emotions and deal with this discomfort by dismissing emotional experiences rather than learning to navigate them with care. There's often an element of control involved. By dismissing your feelings, he's attempting to maintain his comfort level without doing the work of understanding or responding appropriately to your emotional needs. A man who truly values you takes your feelings seriously because he takes you seriously as a complete human being. He may not always understand your emotions immediately, but he recognizes that they're valid and important because they're yours. He wants to understand you, inner world, rather than dismiss it, because understanding you better helps him love you better. The cumulative effect of this behavior is devastating. When someone consistently tells you that your emotional responses are wrong, you begin to doubt your own perceptions. You start questioning whether your hurt feelings are justified. And this self-doubt can affect your ability to trust your emotional responses long after the relationship ends. Behavior number 4. He doesn't include you in important decisions. The fourth behavior that shows lack of value is making decisions that affect you or the relationship without consulting you, as if your input and perspective don't matter to the outcome. Marcus Aurelius taught, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." But healthy relationships require considering how decisions affect both partners, not just making choices based solely on individual preferences. This exclusion looks like making social plans that involve you without asking your input, making financial decisions that affect the relationship without discussion, changing arrangements or plans without considering your schedule or preferences, and generally acting like he's single when making choices that impact your shared time or future. Carol, 64, shared her frustration. "He would make plans for us without asking if I was available or interested. He'd book trips, accept social invitations, or change our arrangements based solely on what worked for him. When I'd point this out, he'd say he was just being decisive, but I felt like my preferences and schedule didn't matter to him at all." Are you recognizing these patterns of being excluded from decisions that affect you? Leave a comment below about the importance of being included in relationship choices. The psychology reveals someone who either doesn't think of you as a true partner whose input matters, or someone who prefers to maintain complete control over decisions rather than engaging in the collaboration that partnerships require. A man who values you includes you in decisions that affect you because he recognizes that you're a partner whose thoughts, preferences, and schedule matter. He wants your input because he values your perspective and wants decisions to work for both of you. This behavior includes making plans that involve you without consultation, changing arrangements without considering your preferences, making financial decisions that affect the relationship unilaterally, accepting or declining social invitations for both of you without asking, and generally acting single when making choices that impact your shared life. Behavior number 5. He compares you unfavorably to others. The fifth behavior that clearly shows lack of value is making comparisons between you and other women, whether ex-partners, friends, or even strangers, that make you feel inadequate or deficient in some way. Buddha taught, "Do not overrate what you have received, nor envy others. He who envies others does not obtain peace of mind." When someone consistently makes you feel like you fall short compared to other women, they're revealing that they don't appreciate what you uniquely offer. These comparisons might sound like commenting on how other women handle things differently or better, praising other women's qualities in ways that suggest you lack them, talking about ex-partners' positive qualities while criticizing your similar traits, or making comments about other women's appearance, achievements, or behaviors that clearly suggest you're lacking.
Susan, 66, experienced this painful pattern. He would constantly mention how his ex-wife was so organized when I was more relaxed about housework, or how his friend's girlfriend was so supportive when I disagreed with him about something. He made me feel like I was constantly falling short of some standard other women were meeting. The psychology behind this behavior is often manipulation, consciously or unconsciously using comparisons to make you feel insecure, and therefore more likely to change your behavior to please him. It can also reveal someone who genuinely doesn't appreciate your unique qualities and is always looking elsewhere for what they think they want. A man who truly values you doesn't need to compare you to others because he appreciates what you specifically bring to his life. He may notice other women, but he doesn't use those observations to make you feel deficient or inadequate. This behavior shows up as making favorable comparisons between you and other women, praising other women's qualities in ways that highlight your supposed deficiencies, talking about ex-partners in ways that make you feel competitive or inadequate, commenting on other women's appearance or achievements in ways that make you feel lacking, and generally making you feel like you're not measuring up to other options.
Here's what connects all 5 of these behaviors. They all treat you as replaceable rather than valuable, convenient rather than precious, and optional rather than essential. Each behavior communicates that you don't hold a special place in his life that would motivate him to treat you with the consideration and care you deserve. When someone truly values you, they want to meet your reasonable needs. They show up consistently regardless of convenience. They care about your feelings and emotional world. They include you in decisions that affect you because they value your input and perspective. And they appreciate your unique qualities rather than comparing you unfavorably to others. The real damage from these behaviors isn't just in the individual instances, it's in the cumulative effect on your self-worth and your understanding of what you deserve from relationships. When you're consistently made to feel like you're asking for too much, when you can only count on someone when it's convenient for them, when your feelings are dismissed as unimportant, when you're excluded from decisions that affect you, and when you're made to feel deficient compared to other women, you start to question your own worth and lower your expectations for how you should be treated. Men who exhibit these behaviors typically have explanations that sound reasonable on the surface. I'm just not good at expressing emotions, for dismissing your feelings. I like to be spontaneous, for excluding you from decisions. I'm just being honest about my observations, for unfavorable comparisons. I have a busy life, for only showing up when convenient. You're more demanding than I'm used to, for making you feel like you ask for too much. The key is to look at patterns of behavior rather than accepting explanations for individual incidents. Someone who truly values you finds ways to treat you well, consistently, regardless of their personality traits or past experiences. For contrast, here's how men who truly value you behave. They welcome opportunities to meet your needs and make you happy. They show up consistently, especially during difficult times when you need support. They take your feelings seriously and want to understand your emotional world. They include you in decisions that affect you because they value your input and perspective. And they appreciate your unique qualities and make you feel special and valued. When you recognize these 5 behaviors, your response should be clear and decisive. Address the behavior directly and explain how it affects you. Set clear boundaries about what you will and won't accept. Give him an opportunity to change the behavior if he chooses. Be prepared to walk away if the patterns continue after you've addressed them clearly. At our age, we don't have time to waste on people who don't value us properly. Life is too short to spend it trying to convince someone to treat you with the respect and consideration you deserve.
Ladies, recognizing when someone doesn't truly value you isn't about being negative or pessimistic. It's about protecting your time, energy, and self-worth from people who would diminish them. These 5 behaviors are clear indicators that someone sees you as optional rather than precious, and no amount of patience or understanding will change someone who fundamentally doesn't appreciate what they have. You've lived too long and learned too much to accept less than genuine value and respect. When someone consistently exhibits these behaviors, believe what they're showing you about how they see your worth, and make decisions that honor your actual value rather than hoping they'll eventually recognize it. The right person won't make you feel like you're asking for too much, won't only show up when convenient, won't dismiss your feelings, won't exclude you from important decisions, and won't make you feel deficient compared to others. They'll recognize your worth and treat you accordingly from the beginning. If this video helped you spot behaviors that show a lack of genuine value, here's what to do. First, subscribe to Wise Advice for Elderly. We're building a community of women who know their worth and won't settle for less. Second, share this video with a friend who might need these reminders. Third, take a hard look at your own relationships. Are any of these behaviors present? If so, address them, or decide if that person deserves your time and energy. And finally, leave a comment. Which of these behaviors have you faced, and how did you respond? Your story might help another woman. Remember, your worth is non-negotiable. Only share your life with people who see and respect it.